This query shows us all records from the state list table, and we know we've taken the time to put a primary key on the state ID field, which means no duplicate state IDs will be allowed there. Well, let's enter a new state. Let's go Insert into State List, the following values. Now let's choose a state ID of ZA, because we know that doesn't exist yet. That'll be new. Okay. Let's say Alaska is the state name. Is that a duplicate? Not as far as the primary key is concerned, but it might look like a duplicate to us. Well, let's keep going. Let's say it's in the USA, and let's give it the landmass. Let's run this. The insert was allowed, so we have an AK Alaska and a ZA Alaska. Now, to a report, it's probably going to show the state name field, which will appear as a duplicate. So at this point, you might be tempted to say, let's slap another primary key in there and put it on the state name field. Good idea, except for the fact that you're only allowed to have one primary key per table, but you can have many unique constraints. So let's first of all clean this up before we lock it down by saying delete state list where state ID equals ZA. Run your delete statement. Doing select star from state list shows us we have our original 50 records and no ZA Alaska. Great. Let's lock it down so the state name can't be duplicated by altering the table state list and adding a constraint, and we'll call it UQ for unique constraint underscore state list underscore state name, and we'll specify unique. And we will put it on the state name field. Okay, let's run this. Commands completed successfully. Now let's attempt to insert this unique record as far as state ID is concerned, but a duplicate as far as state name is concerned, and see what it does. It says, violation of unique key constraint UQ state list state name. Cannot insert duplicate key in object state list. Looking at the room chart table, it looks like we have 8 records, each with their own ID, and we know there's a primary key on this first ID field. Now, let's say that there's a requirement that no 2 room descriptions should be the same in the room chart table. Well, that's easy. All we got to do is alter this table, called humanresources.roomchart, and we are going to add a constraint, and we'll call it UQ room chart room description, and we will specify that as a unique constraint and make sure it's on the right field, room description. Okay, let's run that. This was created successfully. Let's look at the human resources table. Let's expand it a little bit and look at the columns, and room description appears to be an nvarchar 200. That's the biggest field so far that we've put a unique constraint on. Let's say that we have another requirement. Let's say that no 2 room notes should be exactly the same. They're not now, but let's ensure that that never happens in the future by writing the following code. Alter table, humanresources.roomchart, and we're going to add a constraint called UQ room chart room notes. That sounds good. And we'll make it a unique constraint, and we'll put it on the room notes field. Now, before I run this, let's look at the data type. Room notes is an end text. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Uh-oh, what is this trying to tell us? You can put unique constraints on fields that have data types of 900 bytes or smaller, but any data type that is over 900 bytes, that can't be made into unique constraints. So examples of things that can't be made unique constraints are end text, text, image, geography, even varchar and nvarchar max. Lab 1.2, Skill Check 1. Create a unique constraint called UQ room chart room name on the room name field of the room chart table. Verify your new constraint is present in your Object Explorer. Skill check 2. Create a unique constraint called UQ_management_training_class name on the class name field of the management training table. Verify your new constraint is present in Object Explorer. Skill check 3. Management wants unique constraints on the humanresources.vendor table. They say the email will never be duplicated and neither will the description. Write the code to create one of these constraints and comment on why the other one is not possible.